Okay.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Crypto Tips. My name is Toby.
And I'm Heidi.
And we are filming from a remote place in Indonesia. And we're about to go way more remote. So we're trying to get a live stream on right now because the next long time it's going to be really... hopefully the internet quality is
We'll
okay.
see what the internet's like.
Yeah.
I was going to say we're just looking at the Indian Ocean. You guys could guess where we are, but...
Yeah. Anyways.
There was a surprise.
Guys, don't worry about the price. Whales are having a blast right now.
Well, what is
around.
the price doing?
The price is around 58.8. So, we came off our high of 64,000 back down to these prices. It's literally like people are entering the market right now. Like newbies are entering the market. And they're seeing their investment down like 40%, 30% on some of these alts or whatever. And they're panicking. So also the US is sleeping right now. And that means volume is way lower. So that means the whales have more of an opportunity to go ahead and smash the price down. They can't control it as much when people are awake. And so you do have really sophisticated people now. You have Wall Street essentially in the market as well. And they are definitely controlling the price. If you don't think the price is manipulated, you got another thing coming. All right. So let me get into this right now. I'll explain some of the reasons why the whales are able to do this. First off, news. Okay. So you have Turkey Central Bank just banned its citizens from using cryptocurrencies to purchase goods and services as of April 30th. Okay. So first off, Turkey ain't banning anything, okay, guys? You have to understand that Bitcoin cannot be banned by government, all right? They can't. So governments, like Turkey, the Turkish lira has dropped crazy amounts. A couple years ago, Heidi and I went to Istanbul, and, the Turkish lira was at 3 to the dollar. Now it's at 8 point something to the dollar. So their central bank is essentially diminishing the value of the lira, the Turkish lira, and they're killing their citizens that way. And what are your thoughts?
It's like you just said, like they're not banning your ability to own it or send it on a peer-to-peer basis because they can't. That's something that we're always saying and happy to reinforce for those who are new here and I know that's like a huge threat or something that makes a lot of people nervous is like, oh, but what if the government wants to take it down? They can't. And this is proof. The only thing they can possibly do is regulate or constrict on those centralized bottlenecks, the exchanges. They can limit, any business that is regulated by the government or whatever has to report their earnings. They can prevent them from doing so legally with Bitcoin. But anyway, that's something to pay attention to. But like what you're saying too is like this is what we were talking about the other day also about this whole situation is like they're either completely ignorant about fiat currencies and the fact that they fail 100% of the time, or they're completely malicious and they're kind of encouraging in one way or another their citizens to stay within that system and not encouraging them to explore a better monetary policy, a better monetary system like Bitcoin that they can actually thrive off of, an appreciating asset rather than one that's actively devaluating. That is, horrific for the people who are, having to participate within the lira system.
Yeah, for sure. And, this is their desperateness showing because they're like, oh, crap, the lira is dropping. We need to get people out of this alternative, which is going to help people because there's a limited supply. They can't just, have a board meeting and go, okay, we're going to increase supply by 300%. No, they can't do that with Bitcoin. They can do that with a lira. And, that's kind of, it's for those who are interested in understanding history, this is one thing that repeats itself over and over. I mean, going back to even Rome, when with the denarius, that they they started out with like pure silver, and then it just got diminished by the metal that they put into it. So they pretty much, at the end of the lira days, or sorry, the end of the denarius days in ancient Rome, they essentially took out all the silver. So the king had pretty much all the silver. And so this is just devaluing currency. It always happens.
Panic mode.
Yeah, it's panic mode. It's whatever.
Yeah.
So okay, let's move on. Okay, really, this is funny. So Jim Cramer. Okay, this guy, I love picking on this guy. I think he blocked Heidi from something he said. She said last bear run or bear market or bull run. So he said he sold 50% of his Bitcoin yesterday. He said it was like trading phony money for real money. Wow. So okay,
I can't roll my eyes any harder than I just did.
Let's start there. Okay, so this guy has a platform, his own show, on one of the largest financial, mainstream news outlets in the world, and he doesn't understand currencies. He doesn't understand money. That itself blows my mind. Wow. The rest of the world's listening.
He's a really good puppet.
Holy cow. Yeah, if you want to know how good of a puppet he is, look at his Lehman Brothers call back in 2007, 2008. That was a brilliant one. He pretty much he called the top, like right before it crashed to almost zero. Okay, so to his benefit, he disclosed that he bought a lot of Bitcoin at around $12,000. I don't think he did. He says he sold half of it to pay off his mortgage yesterday. Oh, really? So he works at one of the top
He has a mortgage.
mainstream financial outlets in the world. He has a mortgage on his house. Is his house? Okay, sure, whatever. It was like phony
Maybe
money.
he's trying to be relatable.
Maybe I can't. Whatever. Okay. On another note, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink on cryptocurrencies says it may become a great asset class. Okay, so
It already is.
big financial traditional whales are
Yeah.
jumping in on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
This is huge news, and yeah, that's great. It's really good to see. I can't believe like Larry Fink would actually talk about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So I want to talk about yes. Okay. Canada. Okay, so links to all these articles are down below in the video description as normal. But okay, so Canada released the first Bitcoin ETF, and now they did the first Ethereum ETF. That to me was surprising because, I mean, like 2 years ago, even maybe 3 years ago, Canada was kind of notorious for being not so crypto friendly, and now look what they're doing. They're putting out these new kind of investment products that the U.S. has been trying to do for years, but have failed because of the strict regulations. So it's really, I honestly kind of wrote off Canada when I was hearing, their initial stance on crypto. But now this is, I mean, obviously an ETF isn't the real way to invest or participate with cryptocurrencies by any means, but it is certainly a more welcoming sign coming from the governmental side about cryptocurrencies. And so this is a symptom or evidence of what I think we're to see coming, like as crypto is gaining more popularity, more countries and governments are going to be seeing the possibility of how successful they could be if they're actually open to facilitating the cryptocurrencies and the kind of new economy that it can flourish in with their countries, rather than like maybe countries like
Except Turkey,
the U.S. or Turkey that are, happily smashing it down, happily removing their citizens from being able to interact freely in that space. I mean, we have this Patreon group, a paid membership, which is great. Toby and I, for those of you who don't know, we renounced our U.S. citizenship, so we're not U.S. citizens, and that's a decision that I don't think I will ever regret. Certainly haven't yet, by any means. obviously we're very into the cryptocurrencies, so that was a huge motivating factor for us. We can kind of see where it was going. But I bring this up because we had one Patreon member who actually unsubscribed because he was saying that he couldn't even keep up with most of what we're doing because he's a US citizen. And that's so unfortunate. I mean, I understand not everyone is willing or able to uproot their life for the sake of interacting with crypto, but for us it was a no-brainer. But it's really interesting how different countries are going to be maybe changing their posture towards cryptos, like we're seeing with Canada, perhaps. Maybe those who have been trying to be open since the very start, and they're kind of much more developed, like with having crypto hubs and stuff in their countries. But I did a video like 2 years ago calling it like the global flippening. People, the great flippening if Ethereum ever tops Bitcoin in terms of market cap. But also on talking about fractals on a governmental level, on a world level, how different economies could certainly benefit from facilitating cryptocurrencies in their jurisdictions. It's really interesting to see. But okay, also someone had, let me go back to the comments, you guys. I just kind of went on a rant there. Someone said about Jason Pizzino, who we've had on the channel a few times. If you guys are into trading, I highly recommend you check out his channel. It's growing like crazy.
Yeah, he's a good friend of ours.
Here, Robert Dixon said, Jason Pizzino just said on his video that we haven't had 3 down days in a row since 2017 high from an all-time high. He says that the all-time high in 2017 had 5 days down. He just said we could have a bear market within a bull market. Does that mean it's a super cycle?
Probably.
How can he? I don't know. I would love, and we're going to have him on the channel again, and I'll ask him about that. But to me, any kind of a possibility of having a bear market within a bull market sounds like a, anyway.
We'll see. But, I mean, my argument against having a bear market, even close to a bear market, is also, let me just bring up this article from... the Fed balance sheet grew by $84 billion in the past week, the most in a month, to a new record high of $7.79 trillion. So if you want to know, so that's a monthly equivalent to $336 billion in 1 month. All right. So if you want to understand why equities are going up, or crypto is also going up, and why these huge whales, traditional financial whales, are wanting to dive in this space and really putting their neck out there, because they understand that the Fed is printing like crazy and that there's some dangerous stuff happening. That it's really dangerous what the Federal Reserve is doing, and it's completely out of control, and they're essentially going to try to own everything that's not battered down. So they're not going to be able to own a lot of Bitcoin, though, because they're late to the party, and they probably don't understand it either. Yeah.
So talking about this dip, okay, hold on. Talking about this dip and why we should buy the dip and why this isn't the end of the bull run. There's an article, again, found down below in the video description, because we don't have our green screen anymore, guys. We're just plain old having regular people with a camera. There's a B in Crypto article. It says, on-chain analysis, this is not what the Bitcoin top looks like. In brief, it says long-term holders have stopped selling and are accumulating BTC again. Futures open interest reaches all-time high, and hodl waves and dormancy flow indicate more room for Bitcoin growth. Basically, it's looking at some of the fundamentals of the activity of these cryptocurrencies and all the reasons why the top is not yet in. But it's funny because when I also read articles like another B in Crypto article, again, link is in the video description, titled, Mark Cuban believes Doge will find its level as supply and demand increases. Mark Cuban is suddenly a crypto expert.
Well, yeah, and he was interviewed by that, I think, Laura Shin girl or whatever, because yeah, she's a really good person to find good people in this space.
Okay. I don't know why you just said that. In brief, Mark Cuban admits, okay, the very first summary of this article. It says, Mark Cuban admits he does not know what the Doge price surge means, but believes supply and demand is undefeated. I don't think he even understands that Dogecoin has an unlimited supply. So in that form, supply and demand doesn't really count if you think about it in this space. Like, okay, what we're always saying about Bitcoin, having a hard cap supply and how that differentiates itself from any other commodity or generally any other investment is usually when so much attention and money is being poured into a certain commodity or investment, the supply of that thing eventually also increases. Say, for example, the real estate market. If all of a sudden real estate's going up, more people want to sell their houses. That means more houses are for sale. Let's say if there's a new crop or something that's trending or whatever, all of a sudden it's this new health food thing, like kale, let's say. Suddenly there's a bunch more farmers farming kale, and so the supply of kale goes up. Bitcoin is the only thing that no matter how much of a demand there is, how much money is being poured into it, there will always only ever be 21 million, but not even 21 million, more like 17 million Bitcoin ever in existence. That is amazing. Dogecoin does not fall under that category. That being said, it does offer, it's still a huge step up from the fiat systems, as in you can send it anywhere, to anyone, anywhere, for whatever reason you may be, in a peer-to-peer fashion. It is kind of like, in my opinion, the bare minimum of a cryptocurrency, but even that is light years ahead of the fiat system. I'll just say that.
I don't think they've had an update in 2 years.
Yeah, it's like, you could call it vaporware, but it's not, because that's the strength of the network effect, and people like Elon Musk and now Mark Cuban just shilling the crap out of it. But also, okay, he's only talking about it really is because he also owns the NBA team, the Dallas Mavericks, and they started accepting Doge as a form of payment for their merchandise, and that obviously was doing very, very well. So of course he's going to be pumping that bag as hard as he can. Actually, when I was reading this article, I took some notes. Here's my note from this article. Sounds like something published in The Onion 3 years ago. Mark Cuban. Okay, this is a quote from the article. On Friday, as the price surge was continuing, Cuban tweeted that the Mavs had set a 24-hour record in merchandise sales in Doge. In doing so, he re-emphasized a tweet from his from earlier this week. On Tuesday, Cuban stated that the Mavericks sales in Doge had gone up by 550% over the last month. So basically, he's killing it. Having accepted crypto as a form of payment, it being an appreciating asset is just, not only are you selling things at a profit via merchandise, but also, what you're accepting as payment is also skyrocketing. But yeah, sounds like something published in The Onion 3 years ago, just because Mark Cuban said something like, Bitcoin was totally useless or something. And here's my note. Beware of fair weather friends, which I absolutely think Mark Cuban is. He doesn't know what brings value to the crypto space, just that he will do all that he can to pump up his bags to dump on those who bought his hype, literally. That's my opinion of Mark Cuban. I have no respect for him within this cryptocurrency space. I was actually very also skeptical of Michael Saylor, but based on his continued interest in learning more about it, and the way that he describes the impact of crypto and how he's kind of really putting his money where his mouth is, I think it's great, and I'm certainly been warming up to him. But Mark Cuban, in my opinion, is just not on that level, and I don't think that he ever will be. Yeah. But so that's if it weren't for the other fundamentals, kind of just in our opinion, also this isn't the top. That article would be okay, yeah, we're definitely in a bull run because of an article like that. But that could be also the end of the bull run. But
we'll see.
Yet.
I mean, yeah. Until these Larry Finks of the world stop buying and we stop hearing from that, I think we're going to keep going. Also, like exchange outflows are still going on, like way more than the inflows. So that means that people are like big money's they're buying their Bitcoin on centralized exchanges, then putting it into hardware wallets or cold wallets or cold storage. Yeah, just they're protecting their Bitcoin because they understand that they're here for pretty much the longer run. And I don't think Saylor's selling anything either. I don't think he can actually.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. I don't have a huge publicly traded company like MicroStrategy.
Yeah.
But certainly if him or if Elon Musk sells, that's going to be public knowledge, and it'll be really interesting to see how that affects the crypto markets. Obviously, it's going to be super negative just as much as it's been super positive, the news of hearing them buy. But the really important thing that I hope you guys all understand, and I think most of you do, is that no matter if they buy or sell Bitcoin, these huge companies, it doesn't matter. It does not affect the ability of that cryptocurrency to function. The value of Bitcoin, the value of these privacy coins, the value of Ethereum is determined by what you can do with it. The value is the same no matter what the price is. And that's something that I think a lot of people are going to take some time to really sink in. But it's just going to continue to prove itself over time for me, and I'm not nervous about it whatsoever, the longevity of crypto.
Yeah, and also a little bit about the dip, all right, guys? It's not a huge dip. Like, yeah, I've seen Bitcoin drop like 70% over like a very short period of time.
Yeah.
So this is nothing. What are we down, like 4%, 5%, 6%? Who cares? You know, it's literally just a bump in the road. It's like turbulence. It's not dangerous.
Yeah.
And so I'm still learning that turbulence isn't dangerous because I'm afraid of flying. But other than that, you know, it's really not a big deal, guys. If you're new to this space and you're wondering like what are we doing with our money, then go to our Patreon, because we're pretty much whatever move we do, within 5 minutes I'm literally like, okay, crap, I gotta put our Patreon group, like, let them know what the heck we're doing. And sometimes I'm like that guy that is a U.S. citizen, and he bailed because he couldn't keep up with what we were doing. Sometimes I feel for you guys, like in the U.S., because like there's so many things, there's so many opportunities that you can invest in, like IDOs and, you know, ICOs and all these other things that could prove very beneficial, and just because you're a U.S. citizen, you can't participate. And even in like the small description is like, U.S. citizens can't participate. I'm like, why the heck not, man? Why? Like, because I got tons of friends in the U.S. and I want them to invest in this.
It's either a symptom of that coin or that platform being centralized to the point where they are threatened by the U.S. government. Like, they don't want them coming after them. So they're just like, okay, we'll cut our losses with the U.S. market. There's plenty of other billions of people in the world that can, that aren't, you know, tied down by that. So it's so unfortunate.
And one thing, I guess the hardest part about our Patreon group is that answering questions on where I'm a U.S. citizen, where do I buy this coin? And a lot of the time, like, we don't know. Like, that's a whole nother business right there. Like, I really don't have time to figure out where U.S. citizens can go ahead and buy their coins. You know what I mean? Because, like, it's really difficult. I literally have to study it for a day or whatever to try to find somewhere for a U.S. citizen to buy it, and maybe they won't be able to buy it after all. So most of the time that's true. Or
they have to go through so much KYC to participate that they don't even, you know, want to give up all that really sensitive information. You guys are going crazy talking about Crypto Dad in the comments. That is really unfortunate. It sounds like he might have been banned on YouTube.
Crypto who?
Crypto Dad.
Oh, really?
He does really nice tutorials and is actually super helpful. And I don't know what he did. Okay, so what was it? 2 years ago? It was like 2019, Christmas Day. YouTube banned or flagged so many crypto channels. Yeah. And I found it was because people were linking affiliate links to cryptocurrency exchanges. Like Binance was a really popular one. And because I got flagged actually as well, and the warning was because I was selling unregistered or unlicensed goods like tobacco, firearms, alcohol, whatever. And I think obviously cryptocurrencies fell in that category somehow or whatever. Like that was their excuse. And then I deleted all of my affiliate links on all of my videos, and I just did a mass edit. If you look at some of my past videos, you'll see I just have a video description saying, I do not do paid advertisements. I don't do sponsorships, which is true. And so that's why I don't have any helpful links in some of my older videos. But so I that's really sad. But okay, so here's the thing. This is also why I upload to platforms like Library and also Odyssey. You can find me there, just search crypto tips. So if YouTube does decide that they don't like what we're doing, you can always find our content there. Additionally, I know float.app, flote.app, is a decentralized platform that allows for live streaming. So if that does happen, I will be uploading there. We'll be doing our live streams that way. If we get banned, I highly recommend you guys join our free newsletter. It goes out once a week, and we can keep in contact. If I get taken off of YouTube, you still like what we have to say about crypto, you want to stay in touch, join that newsletter, and you'll find other ways to see our content. But anyway, hopefully that doesn't happen, and hopefully he gets reinstated. This has happened a few times also, like, didn't it happen to like Nuggets News like a couple months ago? Like a few other people got flagged, but then it was reinstated soon after. So hopefully he'll be back. Usually they try and say it was like, oh, their algorithm went haywire, whatever. He must have been saying something super helpful, basically. But anyway, now you guys know how to find us. A link to my Library account is down below in the video description as well. How do you join the newsletter? Down below in the video description. Everything is there. You can also go to learningcrypto.com. That's our website. And we're not going to ban ourselves. So always go to learningcrypto.com. And also Patreon. I know that can be a little censor happy, but we've been fine so far. So you can always, of course, check out our Patreon account there.
Let me bring up this piece of news. It's a day old, but in an SEC filing today, Rothschild Investment Corporation reported owning 38,346 shares of GBTC. That's the Grayscale ETH.
No, Bitcoin.
Bitcoin Trust. So this is getting Bitcoin into the mom and pop, like the grandmas. So they're essentially, it's allowing for all of the people that refuse to learn anything about Bitcoin into the market without them even knowing, because most people don't know what's in their portfolio. Like my mother doesn't know what's in her portfolio. Just stuff like that. So it's just allowing the whole world to get into Bitcoin. So that's pretty exciting. It's not like the greatest thing because they don't actually own it or whatever, but it's actually getting people kind of in play, right? I would never own GPTC. I think it's just a waste of time, and you don't actually own your Bitcoin, whatever. But still, it's a step forward. So, I just want to say that. Somebody asked about Theta. Yeah, we still own Theta. We've been riding that train for a long, long time. So this is not yet. People are like, is this the top? Absolutely not. No. Definitely not the top. I wish see some more questions. How do I join? Yeah, I
get that one.
Okay. The graph. Why are you not talking about the graph? We don't own very much of it, so it's pretty much why. But yeah, it'll do fine. There's so many different coins out there that we try to cover.
There's like 6,000 cryptocurrencies.
Like guys, it's really hard to keep on top of every single coin out there.
We're only two people.
Yeah, and I'm more interested in finding the longer term gems that are going to last, and maybe the graph would be a good one to look into because I think it does have some legs on that for sure.
So you guys, we are in a new time zone. That means these live streams are going to be different. Let us know if there's a day of the week that you prefer to do live streams, be it the weekend, maybe that's better. You know, previously it was always at noon Eastern time on Mondays, but that is not going to be a time zone that works for us anymore. We have to be functioning in the daylight hours. So whether it's maybe now or maybe even a few hours earlier from now, that could be definitely possible. Let us know in the comments here, and we'll take note.
Yeah, and hopefully that the bandwidth isn't too bad where we're going.
If it is, if it's like horrible and it's painful to watch these live streams, we're not going to do live streams anymore, but we will be taking weekly polls of questions, basically, or take like a weekly gathering of your questions and making a video based on that. I think we might be first perhaps limiting it to Patreon members. And then from there branching out, figuring a way out to do that. But if you guys want to stay in contact, and we're very active on Patreon, basically. We post all of our trade alerts. You can get access to our monthly portfolio updates to see exactly all the coins and their allocations within our portfolio. We have classes for those of you who are new and you want to learn how to use things like wallets, decentralized exchanges. I do reviews on hardware wallets, a ton of information basically. And we're very active on there. So if you have questions, you feel like you want to have a little bit more interaction, definitely encourage you guys to check out Patreon.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else?
Yeah, some guy just like, talk about Bitcoin. Guys, forget about Bitcoin. It's going to do fine. It's going to do fine. Like, there's no worries. And stay away from whatever is like popular, you know, like, that when you see a coin pump 500% and then you have all your friends asking you how do I get into that, just tell them politely, like, hey, now you need to learn a little bit more in this space. Yeah. Don't tell them to buy it, you know what I mean? So yeah,
they're gonna panic buy and then they're gonna panic sell and then they're gonna lose money, and they're gonna think it's all a scam. That's what actually a Patreon member asked me yesterday, talking about Dogecoin and kind of like the hype and the people buying into it. What does that say for kind of cryptocurrency as a whole? And I said, it's absolutely a symptom of a bull run. People are FOMOing into coins. They're probably going to make some money if they sell it at the top and they don't keep holding it, because it's going to come back up. It's going to come back up, and then it doesn't, because that does happen. Their trends do reverse, and it does start trending down. So they're either going to come away with a really bad taste in their mouth, they're lost money, they're going to think it's a scam, or they're going to keep holding it. They've been inspired by what it can do. They want to learn more about the crypto space in general, and they'll be one of those battle-hardened people who have held since the top of the 2020 bull run.
Safest wallet to store coins that aren't supported by Ledger. Thanks, Silas.
You can check. I mean, they always have things like desktop wallets. That they should have a desktop wallet that you can download locally onto your computer and interact with it that way, rather than through something like a website, which is hosted by web servers, which have been hacked many times in the past. It happened to my Ether wallet. It happened to Ether Delta, the decentralized exchange that was functioning on a website.
Yeah. Don't ever put your coins on a mobile app. We don't use mobile wallets at all, and we haven't had any issues because of it, and I'm okay with that. Yeah, we learned. I think I learned that back in 2015 or 14 that I'm not putting anything on my phone. Reason being because we know that Apple products have a backdoor, and anything having to do with my cryptocurrency, I want to keep it as secure as possible. Also, there's a very common hack or scam it's called SIM swaps, where they can take your phone number basically and act like they're you with your phone number, and then gain access to all of your accounts through that way also. So I try to remove things like my phone number from my activity of cryptocurrencies. Like if I am on an exchange, or if I have to use two-factor authentication, I mean, you should use two-factor whenever you can. I never ever choose the SMS text option. I choose the authenticator app
option. It's a code that's generated by an application on your phone rather than something that is sent to your phone number, because again, if someone has access to your phone number, they can get through that super easy. And it's actually very easy for people to gain access to your phone number. Scary easy for them to do that. Yeah, those are all my warnings, but anything else?
Yeah, that's it.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are enjoying this new time frame for these live streams. We got a ton of people in here. It's amazing.
Yeah,
If you guys like these live streams, give us a like, hit subscribe with the bell notification so you can know what's going on. And also to follow us on the decentralized versions of videos like Library, Odyssey, and also join our newsletter and Patreon. We got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. And stay disobedient, guys. That's the only way forward.
We're doing a ton of filming, so we'll probably put together like a travel video for us. It's also really interesting traveling in a time of COVID. Now we're gonna get banned for sure.
That's internet stop.
Oh. Anyway, that's a nice freeze face.
Crap.
Okay. Anyway, we're